Hello once again. At the end of my previous video to do with king, rook and bishop against king and rook, I did say that I'd present a king, rook and knight against a king and rook. Well, this is the position that I have concocted, and it's in response to a comment made in 1817 by William Stopford Kenny. He was an excellent writer and by all accounts a pretty useful player as well, and he made the assertion that a king, rook and bishop may win against a king and rook. Correct. He also made a further assumption that a king, rook and knight against a king and rook cannot win. Is he right? Well, no, he isn't, I'm afraid. He's very much mistaken. And yet again, you see, this is why you must never assume that these sorts of positions are automatic draws. He was as good as saying, that's as much as you can get out of it and we'll end this game. Well, it's not, because if the late Mr. Kenny were playing black here and I were playing white, I'll demonstrate to you that he'd be lost. Now, it's white's move. What does he do here? And there are other positions that can be won. It depends on the class of the position. I've made this comment, and Howard Staunton made it in 1847 in his handbook. It does depend on the layout. It's not good enough to say, oh, the material is enough to convince you that it's one way or another. It's not. So don't be swayed by that. What is the key move here? And in finding the key move, what are we trying to do? Well, in finding the key move, we want to restrict black's king so that it can move to neither here nor here. I know at the moment this is blocked, but once the rook moves, we want to stop him moving to c8 or e8. Do you have it? Yes, the key move is knight d6. And there's another good reason for this. It stops black checking here. You're already cutting that out. Now you're hitting his rook. Now, if he loses that rook, then a king and rook against a king is a dead win. So he cannot afford to lose that rook. So the premise here is we try and win his rook or we mate him. So he must move that rook. Now, if he moves this rook off the back rank, like here, he's going to be checkmated after rook c8, rook takes c8, checkmate. So he cannot afford to do that. So by implication, he must keep it on the back rank. He can't play it to here because it would be an immediate rook b8 mate. This is his only move, and now this demonstrates what I was saying. The black king is stuck. He cannot move to either c8 or e8. However, he does have c7. So what do we do here? Well, now we take the 7th, as all good rook-ending players would want to do. And what are we threatening there? Just take a good look at that position. Just see if you can figure out what white is threatening. I have come up with this sort of device in one or two of my other problems, and it's really neat. If you can get this position working, you have the opponent. Well, checkmate. Isn't that a neat one? Now, how does he defend against that? He cannot move his king, and he cannot really put his rook in the way. Well, he can. Can you see it? He can play here. Now, this is very tricky. Never fall into the trap of, oh yeah, I'll have that, good. Stalemate. And you don't want that. You'd be throwing everything away. So in that position, how do you avoid doing that? Can you see it? Well, you can end this game with a king, a rook, and knight against a king. You can win his rook for nothing. That's right. Check. Now, no matter where he goes with that king, whether it's to e8 or c8, now you take his rook. And if you notice in that position, he still has a square. And quite simply, he would have no defense in that position. You just move your rook out the way and you would quickly deliver checkmate in not too much of a problematic fashion. That proves that W.S. Kenny had it rather wrong, and he's a great writer. I like his work. He's very interesting and very entertaining and informative. However, like everyone in life, they're not right on everything. And he's made a slip in this one, and I would remember that a king, rook and knight against a king and rook, if you can home in on this sort of situation, let's just put it back for a moment. like that, where even if his rook's not there, if you can get into that position, that is a really neat checkmate. Everything is covered. The knight does a superb job. And it can work equally well. Let's just have a look at it on this side of the board. Look at it there. For instance, you just go here, and he's checkmated. There's just no way out at all. It's a really fantastic coup in what would otherwise possibly be dismissed as a dead draw. So keep that one in mind as well. Good luck to you and your chess. I hope you've gleaned something from this and all the other videos, and goodbye for now.